3 months after the Vorn invasion, Artemis Prime looked different. The planet was healing, but not in any way anyone had expected. Patches of ground where Yuma had danced now grew strange plants, half-organic, half-metallic structures that glowed softly at night and seemed to breathe. Yuna lived in a special building at the edge of the main colony. It wasn't a prison, but it wasn't exactly freedom either. Scientists, military leaders, and government officials visited her daily, trying to understand what she had become. Dr. J-Park spent most of his time studying her. His notebook was filled with impossible observations. Yuna could generate complex machines from her body. She could heal damaged equipment by simply touching it. Her blood, if it could still be called blood, contained billions of tiny constructs that could rebuild, reshape, and protect. "I am not what I was," Yuna told Park one morning. Her voice still carried multiple tones, a reminder of her transformation. "But I am still me." The colonists had mixed feelings. Some saw her as a hero. Others feared her. Children whispered stories about the woman who could turn her body into living weapons. Old soldiers talked about how she had saved them all from certain death. Commander Hoon Choi had become her primary contact with the colony's leadership. He understood her better than most. During their meetings, Yuna would sometimes demonstrate her abilities. A simple touch could turn a broken computer into a working machine. Her fingers could create tiny machines that could clean, repair, or investigate. One day, a communication came from Earth. High-level scientists and military leaders wanted to study her. They saw her as a weapon, a potential solution to future alien threats. Yuna knew this. She also knew she would not be controlled. The nano-serpentine constructs inside her had their own intelligence. They had chosen her. They had transformed her. And they were not interested in becoming a tool for human wars. Outside her special building, a transformed landscape told a story. Plants grew with metallic edges. Rocks contained tiny moving parts. The environment was changing, becoming something new. Something between natural and artificial. Dr. Park discovered something even more interesting. The nano-serpentine constructs were learning. They were evolving. Through Yuma, they were understanding human emotions, human complexity. It was not just a weapon system anymore. It was becoming something more. "We are different now," Yuna told Commander Choi during one of their meetings. "Not just me. The whole planet is different." Her eyes, still not completely human, looked out over the changing landscape. The glowing plants, the rocks with moving parts, the ground that seemed to breathe and pulse with a new kind of life. The Vorn had come to destroy. Instead, they had created something entirely new. A hybrid world. A living system that could defend itself. And Yuna was its heart, its mind, its protector. Somewhere in the distance, a new kind of flower opened. Its petals were part metal, part organic material. It glowed with a soft blue light, another sign of the transformation that had begun. Yuna smiled. The dance was not over. It was just beginning. The dust settled slowly over Artemis Prime, a fine gray blanket that covered everything like a morning shroud. Where massive Vorn ships had once blocked out the sky, now only fragments remained, twisted metal and burning debris scattered across the ravaged landscape. In the center of this desolation stood Yuna Kim, her body a living, shifting canvas of impossible movement. Commander Hoon Choi watched from a safe distance, his hands gripping a damaged communication panel. His fingers trembled. The woman he had known as a calm researcher just days ago now moved like liquid lightning, her body surrounded by a swirling cloud of metallic, snake-like constructs that seemed to breathe and pulse with their own intelligence. Yuna danced. It wasn't a dance like humans had ever seen before. Each step left a trail of glowing nanites that reshaped the broken ground. Her feet barely touched the ash-covered earth. Instead, she moved in patterns that were part ballet, part combat, part something entirely alien. The remaining colonists watched in total silence, their breath caught in their throats. Dr. Judd Park, who had worked beside her for years, now struggled to recognize her. Her skin shifted colors, sometimes a deep midnight blue, sometimes a translucent silver that reflected the burning wreckage around her. The nano-serpentine constructs moved with her, creating intricate patterns in the air, forming shapes that seemed to tell a story of destruction and rebirth. "Is she still human?" whispered a young technician to his companion. No one answered. No one knew. The Vorn invasion had been total. Their plan was simple: consume the planet, strip its resources, leave nothing behind. Massive ships had entered the system, each large enough to swallow entire cities. They carried weapons that could turn mountains to dust and oceans to steam. But Yuma, and the strange, living technology that now flowed through her veins, had other plans. Where the Vorn ships had landed, now only craters existed. Molten metal cooled in strange, organic patterns. The nano-serpentine constructs had not just destroyed the invaders, they had transformed the very landscape into a memorial of resistance. Yuna's movements slowed. The glowing constructs around her began to settle, like metallic dust finding its final resting place. Her head turned, and for a moment, her eyes met Commander Choi's. They were no longer entirely human eyes. They shifted and swirled, tiny nanites dancing within her irises, reflecting the burning world around her. "We survived," she said. Her voice sounded different. Not just her voice, but voices. Multiple tones layered together, as if the nano-serpentine constructs were speaking through her. The colonists began to approach, cautiously. Some carried medical equipment. Others held weapons, unsure if they were approaching a savior or a threat. Dr. Park was the first to break the formation, stepping forward with a mixture of scientific curiosity and deep personal concern. "Yuna," he called softly. She turned fully towards him. For a brief moment, a familiar smile flickered across her transformed face, a reminder that somewhere inside this new being, the researcher they had known still existed. The dance was over, but something new had begun. Hannah did not run. The red eyes watched her from the hole in the ground. She counted at least 20 Shik, their scales shining in the weak light. Slowly, the largest one slithered out. It was as long as Hannah was tall, with scales that shifted between red and gold. Its tongue flicked the air, tasting her scent. Hannah stood very still. All her life, she had been told the Shik were mindless killers. But now she knew better. Now she knew there was a connection. The large Shik moved closer. When it was just a foot away, it raised its head to look directly into her eyes. And then Hannah heard it in her mind. Not words exactly, but feelings, images, questions. Asterisk. Who, you not enemy, but not us asterisk. The voice in her head surprised her so much that she fell backward. The Shik didn't attack. It waited. Carefully, Hannah fought back at it. Asteriski, am Hannah. Human. But changed by you asterisk. The Shik's head tilted, as if thinking. Asteriski's changed bridge speak understand asterisk. Around them, the battle between Shik and counter-serpents continued. The ground shook with explosions. The air grew thicker with strange smells. Asterisk danger new snakes kill all asterisk, the Shik thought to her. The counter-serpents, Hannah said aloud, then focused on thinking it instead. Asterisk blue black snakes, made by humans from space asterisk. The Shik's tail lashed once, showing anger. Asterisk humans make death always fear fight asterisk. Asterisk not all humans want to fight asterisk, Hannah thought. Asterisk some want peace asterisk. The Shik seemed to consider this. Then it backed up and turned its head toward the hole. More Shik emerged, forming a circle around Hannah. They were all sizes, from small as her finger to large as her leg. Asterisk follows safe place asterisk. The lead Shik thought to her. Hannah hesitated. She needed to warn Silwa, but she also needed to understand the Shik if she was going to save anyone. Asterisk take me to safe place. Then help me save my people asterisk, she thought. The Shik dipped its head once. Asteriskes quickly before death comes asterisk. They moved into the hole, which opened into a tunnel leading deep underground. Hannah followed the Shik, using her hands to feel the walls when it got too dark to see. After what felt like hours of walking, the tunnel opened into a huge cave. Hannah gasped. The cave was filled with light, not electric like in Sielwa, but a soft blue glow that came from the walls themselves. And in the center stood a structure unlike anything Hannah had seen. It looked like a tree made of crystal, with branches spreading out to touch the cave ceiling. Pulses of light moved through it, like blood through veins. Asterisk node speak, place, hear all Shik asterisk. The lead Shik explained. A communication center, Hannah whispered. Hundreds of Shik moved around the crystal tree. Some were huge, bigger than any Hannah had seen before. They noticed her but didn't attack. They seemed to know who or what she was. The lead Shik guided her to the base of the crystal tree. Asterisk touch, learn, understand asterisk. Hannah hesitated, then placed her hand on the crystal. Instantly, her mind filled with images and feelings. She saw Earth as it was before, green and blue and beautiful. She saw the Shik arrive, not as invaders, but as explorers. She felt their wonder at finding humans. Then she felt their fear when humans attacked them. She saw the war that followed, the weapons both sides used. She felt the Shik's confusion when their attempts to communicate failed. Most surprising, she saw their plan, not to destroy humans, but to change them. To make them able to breathe the air the Shik needed. To create a bridge between species. But it had gone wrong. Most humans died. The few who changed, like Hannah's ancestors, ran away and hid. The Shik waited, hoping someday the changed humans would return. Then came the counter-serpents. Pure destruction. Hannah pulled her hand away, tears in her eyes. You never wanted to kill us all. Asterisk no want share world learn grow asterisk. A new image filled Hannah's mind. The counter-serpents spreading across Earth, killing everything. Turning the world black and dead. Then new humans arriving, making the new world that had no place for Shik. There has to be another way, Hannah said. A third path. The lead Shik's eyes seemed to glow brighter. Asterisk's third path, but hard painful for you asterisk. Tell me. Asterisk you part. Shik can control us. Maybe control new snakes too. But must become more Shik. Change more. Maybe no. Longer. Human. Asterisk. Hannah understood. With her unique biology, she might be able to control both the Shik and the counter-serpents. But doing so would change her forever. Asterisk small time decide asterisk the Shik warned. Asterisk death comes soon asterisk. As if to emphasize this, the cave shook. Dust fell from above. The counter-serpents were getting closer. Hannah thought of Sielwa, of Doyun, of all the people who would die if she did nothing. Show me how, she said. The ship climbed higher, past the red clouds. Hannah pressed her face to the window. Earth grew smaller below. She had never been so far from the ground. It made her stomach feel strange. You're lying, she said to Minja. I can't be connected to the Shik. Dr. Yunji stepped forward with a small screen. On it were strange shapes and letters that Hannah couldn't read. Your blood tells a different story, the doctor said. When we tested it to activate the counter-serpents, we found Shik DNA mixed with human. Very old changes, probably from before you were born. Maybe even before your mother was born. Hannah thought of all the times the Shik had ignored her when they should have attacked, how they seemed curious instead of hungry. Why would they change humans? She asked. We think they were trying to make a bridge species, Minja said. Something part human, part Shik. Their way of talking to us, maybe. Doyun coughed weakly from his bed. Or controlling us. Hannah needed to think. She walked away from them, to a small room with a window showing the stars. She had never seen stars before. In Sielwa, people told stories about them, but the red clouds always hid them. They were beautiful. But all she could think about was her people below, facing death from the counter-serpents. "I need to warn them," she whispered to herself. "I need to get back." She looked around the ship. Guards watched her, but they seemed relaxed. They didn't think she was a threat, just a primitive Earth survivor. Hannah noticed a small room with more controls and screens. It was empty now. Everyone was busy watching the battle below. She slipped inside. The controls were strange, but some had pictures. She found one that looked like a small ship. Next to it was a word, HFY. She pressed it. A new screen appeared, showing a map of the ship. A small part at the bottom was flashing. Hannah memorized the way there, then walked casually out of the room. No one stopped her. She found Do-Yun again. "I'm going back," she whispered. His eyes widened. "How?" "There's a smaller ship inside this one. A shuttle. I'm going to steal it. You don't know how to fly it." "I'll learn fast." She squeezed his hand. "I have to try." Do-Yun nodded. "Go, save our people." Hannah moved through the ship, following the map in her mind. She passed people in white suits, but they barely looked at her. Finally, she found a door marked with the shuttle picture. Inside was a small ship, just big enough for maybe 5 people. It looked simple, with only a few controls. She stepped inside and closed the door. Now how to make it go? There was a large button glowing green. "Start." She pressed it. Lights came on. The shuttle hummed to life. Alarms sounded outside. They had noticed. Hannah looked at the controls. 2 sticks seemed to control direction. A slider probably meant speed. She pushed it forward. The shuttle shot out of the big ship with a jerk that threw her back in the seat. Through the window, she saw space, black and huge and terrifying. Earth hung below, red and sick-looking. She pulled the sticks toward the planet. The shuttle turned and dived. Behind her, the big ship followed. Minji's voice came through a speaker. "Stop. You don't know how to fly. You'll crash and die. Better than watching my people die." Hannah shouted back. She pushed the speed higher. The shuttle shook as it hit the atmosphere. Red clouds surrounded her. Fires seemed to cover the windows. Something hit the shuttle hard. The big ship was shooting at her. "We need you alive, Hannah," Minji's voice said. "Your DNA is too valuable. We're just disabling your engines." The shuttle spun out of control. Smoke filled the inside. Hannah held the sticks tight, trying to point toward where she thought Sealway was. The ground came up fast. Too fast. The last thing Hannah saw before the crash was a strange sight. Shik and counter-serpents fighting all across the red land. Like 2 armies in an ancient battle. Blue-black against red. Then everything went black. When she woke, she was lying in red dirt. The shuttle was broken around her. Smoke rose from its pieces. She was alive. But where? Hannah stood shakily. Nothing seemed broken. Her runner's body was tough. All around her, the battle raged. Shik and counter-serpents fought and died. The ground where the counter-serpents won was turning black, as if burning from the inside. Then she saw them. Dozens of eyes watching her from a hole in the ground. Red eyes. The Shik had found her. Hannah ran faster than she ever had before. Behind her, the ship grew smaller. The sound of fighting came from inside it. Her lungs burned, not from the toxic air, but from fear and effort. She stopped on a hill and looked back. What she saw made her heart stop. The ship was rising. Blue fire pushed it up from the red ground. At the same time, something poured from its sides. Hundreds of blue-black shapes falling like rain. The counter-serpents had been released. They hit the ground and began to move, spreading out in all directions. When they touched the Shik, both creatures exploded in flashes of light. The battle had begun. Hannah turned and ran toward Sealway again. She had to warn them. The counter-serpents were loose, and Minji had lied. He never planned to save her people. Halfway to Sealway, the ground shook. A massive shape burst from the earth in front of her. a shik larger than any she had seen before. Its body was as thick as a tree trunk, its scales red like the sky. Its head rose up, towering above her. Hannah froze. The giant shik's tongue flicked out, tasting the air near her face. But like the smaller ones, it did not attack. It seemed curious. Then something blue-black shot from behind Hannah and struck the giant shik. The counter-serpent, smaller but faster, wrapped around the shik's neck. Both creatures screamed, a sound like metal breaking. The giant shik thrashed, throwing Hannah to the ground. As she watched, more counter-serpents arrived, swarming over the shik like ants. The giant creature rolled, crushing some under its weight, but there were too many. The shik's eyes found Hannah's. For a moment, she felt something strange, like a voice in her head, not with words but with feelings. Fear, pain, question. Then the counter-serpents tore the giant shik apart. Hannah scrambled away, but more counter-serpents were coming. Unlike the shik, they noticed her. Several turned, their white eyes fixing on her. A shadow fell over her. The ship. It hovered above, then landed nearby. The door opened, and Minjay stood there. "Come with me now," he called, "or die out here." Hannah looked toward Silwe, then at the approaching counter-serpents. She had no choice. She ran to the ship. Once inside, the door sealed behind her. Through the windows, she saw the battle spreading across the land. Blue-black against red, like two living floods crashing together. "Your friend is dead," Minja said coldly. "He died for nothing." Hannah's eyes burned with tears. "You lied about saving Silwe." "I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything." Minja led her to a new room with a large window that looked down on Earth. The ship was rising fast. From above, Hannah could see the true scale of what was happening. The counter-serpents spread like a dark stain across the red land. Wherever they went, the ground changed, turning gray, then black. "What are they doing to the Earth?" she asked. "Cleansing it," Dr. Yunji said, joining them at the window. "The counter-serpents don't just kill shik. They break down all shik biological matter. The toxins, the eggs, everything." "And what about Silwe?" Hannah asked. "What about my people?" Minja and Dr. Yunji looked at each other. "Tell her," a weak voice said. Hannah turned. In a corner, strapped to a bed, lay Do-yun. His chest was bandaged, his face pale, but he was alive. "Do-yun," Hannah rushed to him. "They took me prisoner," he whispered, "to make you cooperate, but I heard them talking. The counter-serpents don't stop with the shik. They destroy everything native to this Earth now." "Is this true?" Hannah demanded. Minjay nodded slowly. "Earth is too far gone to save as it is. The counter-serpents will break everything down to basic elements. They'll remake the world from scratch. A clean slate. And Silwe, an acceptable loss," Dr. Yunji said. "Your settlement was never going to survive anyway." Hannah felt rage like fire in her chest. "Take me back down. Now." "It's too late," Minja said. "The process has begun. In 1 month, Earth will be clean. In 1 year, we can start rebuilding." Do-yun grabbed Hannah's hand weakly. "He told me something before they shot me," he whispered. "About you. Your immunity. It's not natural. You're not just immune to their toxins. The shik, they changed you somehow. Before you were born." Hannah stared at him. "What do you mean?" "You're connected to them," Do-yun said. "That's why they never hurt you. And maybe you can control them too." The walk to the ship was hard. The toxic wind blew stronger than usual, carrying bits of ash that stung the skin. Above them, the shapes in the clouds grew larger. The shik were moving fast. "We need to hurry," Captain Minja said. His white suit was already turning gray from the ash. Hannah walked beside him, with Do-yun and 2 guards close behind. "Tell me about the colonies," she said. "How do you live up there?" "Better than you might think," Minja said. We have farms in giant glass domes, cities built into asteroids. Our biggest colony, New Seoul, has almost 1 million people. Hannah tried to imagine 1 million humans. In Seolwa, 400 was all that remained. Why did you wait so long to come back? Do-hyun asked, his voice sharp with distrust. Minji's face hardened. We weren't strong enough. The first ships that tried to return were destroyed by the Shik. We had to learn their ways, their biology. We had to become harder. Harder how? Hannah asked. Minja looked at her with cold eyes. The colonies aren't like your stories of the old world, Hannah. We don't have the luxury of kindness or waste. Every resource is measured. Every life has a purpose. We do what must be done to survive. Something moved in the red dirt ahead. Everyone stopped. A small Shik, about as long as Hannah's arm, slithered across their path. It paused, tasting the air with its forked tongue. One of Minji's people stepped forward with a strange gun. The weapon hummed, and the Shik exploded into red mist. Biodisruptor, Minji explained. It attacks their cellular structure. They reached the ship as the wind grew stronger. Inside, it was clean and bright. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Hannah had never seen anything so new, so untouched by the dead world. This way, Minja said, leading them down a narrow hall to a round room filled with glass tubes. Each tube held a coiled blue-black shape. The counter-serpents. They were beautiful in a strange way. Their scales shimmered like oil on water. Their heads were narrow, with white eyes that seemed to follow movement. There, alive? Hannah asked, touching the glass. In a sleep state, said a woman in a white coat. I'm Dr. Yunji. I helped create them. Dr. Yunji showed Hannah a small glass dish. We need a sample of your blood. Just a few drops. Hannah hesitated, then held out her arm. Dr. Yunji pricked her finger and collected the blood. What happens next? Hannah asked. We mix your blood with a catalyst, Dr. Yunji explained. The counter-serpents will absorb it through their skin. Then they'll activate and seek out Shik to destroy. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Red lights flashed. We've got movement, shouted someone from another room. Lots of it. They ran to the front of the ship. Through the large window, Hannah saw something terrible. Across the dead land, the ground itself seemed to move. Thousands of Shik, from tiny ones to massive serpents as big as buildings, flowed toward them like a living river. And worse, another stream of Shik moved in a different direction, toward Seolwa. They found the settlement, Do-hyun said, his face pale. We need to warn them. He turned to run, but the ship door sealed shut. It's too late, Minja said. We need to activate the counter-serpents now. Not until we help my people, Hannah shouted. There's no time, Minji insisted. If we wait, we all die. Do-hyun pulled out his gun, opened the door. Minji nodded to his people. 3 of them raised weapons. We came to save humanity, Minja said softly. Not a single settlement. Seolwa is humanity. Do-hyun fired his gun at the ceiling. In the confusion, he grabbed a biodisruptor from one of Minji's people and shot the door controls. The door slid open. Toxic air rushed in. Run, Hannah, Do-hyun shouted, firing at Minji's people to keep them back. Hannah hesitated. Come with me. I'll hold them off, Do-hyun said. Get back to Seolwa. As Hannah ran out, a shot hit Do-hyun in the chest. He fell to his knees. Minji walked toward him slowly. Fool, Minja said. You doom everyone. Do-hyun looked up at him, blood on his lips. You never planned to save Seolwa, did you? The last thing Hannah saw as she ran was Do-hyun whispering something to Minji before a second shot rang out. The ship landed 3 miles from Seolwa's entrance. It was small and silver, like a needle stuck in the red earth. Steam rose from its hot sides as it cooled in the toxic air. No one in Seolwa knew what to do. Some wanted to run deeper underground. Others wanted to send Hannah to check it out. The council argued for hours. "This is our chance," Hannah finally said, stopping their fights. "I'm going out there." Doyen grabbed extra guns. "Not alone. You're not." They left at dawn, when the red sun made the air look like blood. 5 of them walked carefully through the dead land. Hannah, Doyen, and 3 of his best guards. All wore masks except Hannah. When they got close, the ship's door opened. A man stepped out. He wore no mask, just like Hannah. His suit was white and clean, with a patch that showed Earth and 3 stars. "I am Captain Minjae of the Sol Alliance," he said. His Korean sounded old-fashioned but clear. "Are you from Silwe?" "How do you know about us?" Doyen asked, his gun ready. "We never stopped watching Earth," Minjae said. "For 200 years, we waited until we were strong enough to come back." More people came out of the ship. 6 men and women, all in white, all breathing the poison air like it was nothing. "You're all immune?" Hannah asked, surprised. Minjae smiled. "No, we changed ourselves. Our bodies make medicine inside now." He looked at the guns pointed at him. "We come as friends. We need your help." Back at Seoulwa in the big meeting room, Captain Minjae showed pictures on a small screen. They saw images of huge ships floating in space, of cities built inside asteroids, of laboratories full of strange machines. After the Shik attacked Earth, 50 colony ships escaped, he explained. Only 12 survived. We had to change to live in space. We learned how to change our bodies, our food, our air. "And now you want to fight the Shik?" asked Sora. "We already are." Minjae's face got hard. "The Shik didn't stop with Earth. They've attacked 3 of our colonies. But we found their weakness." He showed a new picture. It looked like a snake, but wrong somehow. Its scales were blue-black, its eyes white. "We call them counter-serpents," Minjae said. "Bioweapons made to hunt and kill Shik." Jinwoo leaned forward. "You made your own snakes to fight their snakes." "Yes, but we need someone special to activate them." Minjae looked at Hannah. "Someone with natural immunity, not our changed immunity. The weapons need pure human DNA that can resist Shik poison." Hannah felt everyone looking at her again. "Activate how?" "Your blood carries a special marker. We need it to wake up the counter-serpents. Once awake, they will hunt every Shik on Earth and destroy them." The room got quiet. After 200 years of hiding, the idea of fighting back seemed unreal. "There's something else," Minjae said, his voice now urgent. "When we sent our message, the Shik noticed. They're coming here now. Thousands of them." Doyen stood up fast. "How long do we have?" "Days. Maybe less." Minjae looked at the frightened faces. "We can help you fight, but without the counter-serpents, we'll all die." Hannah thought about the crystal eggs she had found. The Shik were already closing in. "If I help you, what happens to Silwa?" "We protect it," Minjae said. "The counter-serpents will be programmed to avoid this area. When Earth is clean, your people can live on the surface again." Some council members nodded, hope in their eyes. But Hannah noticed how Minjae's people looked at each other quickly. Something wasn't right. "I'll help," she said anyway. "But I have one condition. I want to see these counter-serpents myself before I give you my blood." Minjae hesitated, then nodded. "Of course. They're in the ship." As they prepared to go to the ship, Doyen pulled Hannah aside. "I don't trust them," he whispered. "Neither do I," she said. "But what choice do we have?" Outside, the red sky was darker than usual. When they looked up, they saw why. Shapes were moving in the clouds. Long, winding shapes. The Shik were coming. The sunlight pact was made. There was no turning back now. 3 days after Hannah found the crystal eggs, Taejo called her to the communications room. This small room, filled with old machines that hummed and blinked, was Taejo's kingdom. He had spent 50 years listening to static, hoping for a voice. Today, His hand shook as he adjusted dials. "Listen," he said, pointing to his headphones. Hannah put them on. At first, she heard only the usual static. Then, a pattern. Beeps and clicks that formed words. "Is that?" she asked, her eyes wide. "Human voices," Tejo said. His smile showed missing teeth. "From space." The message played again. A woman's voice, calm and clear. "Survivors of Earth, if you hear this, respond. The colonies are coming home." Hannah couldn't believe it. Everyone thought the space colonies had died when the ship came. The few ships that escaped Earth were never heard from again. "Have you told the council?" Hannah asked. "Not yet." Tejo looked nervous. "There's more." He played another part of the message. The same voice, but now with a hard edge. "We have weapons now. Bioweapons that can fight the ship. But we need someone immune to help us use them." Hannah felt cold. They knew about people like her. "How did they know?" she asked. Tejo shook his head. "I don't know. But they're coming, Hannah. After all these years, humans are coming back to Earth." The council meeting was loud and angry. 20 people argued around a table made from an old subway car door. "It could be a trap," said Jinwoo, the oldest council member. "The ship could be copying human voices. Why would they bother?" asked Doyun. "They could crush us any time. They don't need tricks." Hannah stayed quiet, watching. The council always fought like this. Some wanted to hide deeper. Others wanted to fight back. Neither side ever won. "The timing is strange," said Sora, head doctor. "First the crystal eggs, now this message. Something big is happening." Tejo played the message for everyone. The room went quiet when they heard about the weapons and needing someone immune. All eyes turned to Hannah. "No," said Do-Yun immediately. "We're not offering her up to strangers. It should be her choice," Sora said softly. Hannah stood up. "If they have weapons that can hurt the ship, I want to help." Before anyone could argue more, alarms rang through Sealwa. Red lights flashed. Do-Yun's radio crackled with panicked voices. "Security breach in Tunnel 5." They ran to the tunnel. 5 guards stood with guns pointed at a small hole in the ceiling. Water dripped around it, and something moved in the shadows. "Snake!" someone shouted. But when the thing dropped down, it wasn't a ship. It was small, pale, with 6 legs and no eyes. It moved fast, jumping from wall to wall. "Ship spy," Do-Yun said, raising his gun. "They send these ahead to map our tunnels." The creature paused, then leaped straight at Hannah. Before anyone could shoot, it landed on her arm. She froze as it crawled up to her face. Its skin felt cold and wet. Then it spoke with a tiny mechanical voice. "Immune 1 located. Signal strong. Preparing landing path." Do-Yun ripped it off her and crushed it under his boot. "They're not just finding us," he said. "They're tracking you." Later, in Hannah's small room, Do-Yun paced back and forth. On her shelf sat small treasures from the surface. A glass bird, a metal box that played music, a book with pictures of the old Earth. "These space humans," Do-Yun said. "We don't know if they're still really human. It's been 200 years. "Neither am I," Hannah said quietly. "Not really." He stopped pacing. "That's different." "Is it? My blood is different. I can breathe poison. The ship ignore me." She looked at her hands. "Maybe I'm what these space people need. Or maybe they'll cut you open to see why you're special." Do-Yun sat beside her. "I can't protect you if you leave Sealwa." "Maybe it's time for me to protect everyone else," Hannah said. That night, more alarms sounded, not from another spy creature, from above. A light brighter than the red sun cut through the toxic clouds. Something was landing. The space colonies had returned to Earth. The air burned in normal lungs. That's what the elders of Sealwa said. Hannah wouldn't know. Her lungs had never been normal. She stood at the heavy metal door that separated the underground city from the poison world above. The mask hung loosely from her hand. She should wear it. Rules were rules. But she didn't need it. Not really. "Ready for your run?" Taejo asked, his old fingers flying over the control panel. At 72, he was one of the oldest people in Silwa. His wrinkled face showed concern behind his thick glasses. "Yes." "Same as always," Hannah said. She tied back her dark hair and slipped the mask over her face, not because she needed it, but because it made Taejo feel better. The old man nodded. 6 hours, not a minute more. The door groaned open. Stale air from below mixed with the toxic fumes from above. Anyone else would die within minutes up there. But not Hannah. She was the runner. The only one. The surface of Earth was no longer Earth. Not since the Shik came. The snake-like aliens had changed everything with their poisons and their strange science. They had killed most humans and forced the rest underground. That was 200 years ago. Now, only Silwa remained, as far as anyone knew. Hannah stepped into the red light of the dying world. The sky was always red now. Red like blood. Red like the eyes of the Shik. She moved quickly, staying low. Her bag bounced against her back with each step. Her job was simple. Find things they could use. Medicine. Metal. Anything from the old world that might help them survive another day in Silwa. 2 miles from the door, Hannah found what had once been a hospital. Most of it was ash now, but the basement might still have supplies. She slipped inside through a broken window, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. Something moved in the corner. Hannah froze. A small Shik, no longer than her arm, slithered across the floor. Its scales gleamed like oil on water. The forked tongue tasted the air, moving toward her. Hannah didn't run. She watched. The Shik raised its head, looking at her with eyes like drops of blood. For a moment, they stared at each other. Then, strangely, it turned away. This had happened before. The Shik never attacked her. It was as if they didn't see her as food or enemy. This was her second gift, beyond the breathing. The Shik ignored her. Hannah continued her search. In a locked cabinet, she found 5 bottles of antibiotics. In another room, she discovered surgical tools. Good finds. Lives would be saved. On her way back, 3 hours later, she noticed something strange. Near the huge rocks that hid the entrance to Silwa, something glittered in the red light. She moved closer. Crystal-like growths, sharp and clear, stuck out from the ground. They hadn't been there last week. Hannah touched one carefully. It felt cold and somehow alive. Her heart beat faster. She knew what these were from the old stories. Shik eggs. But not normal eggs. These were scout eggs, the kind the Shik used to find prey. They had found Silwa. Hannah ran the rest of the way back. When the heavy door closed behind her, she pulled off her mask, her breath coming fast. "Taejo," she said, "we have a problem." The old man looked up from his controls. What kind of problem? The kind with scales and fangs. She put the crystal on the table between them. Taejo's face went white. "How close?" "Right outside our door." Soon the news spread through Silwa. Fear moved through the tunnels faster than the stale air from the fans. The council called an emergency meeting. Everyone came, 400 faces tight with worry. Do-Yun, head of security and Hannah's childhood friend, stood at the front of the room. "We've survived this long," he said. "We'll survive this too." But his eyes met Hannah's, and she saw the truth there. If the Shik had found them after all this time, something had changed. The snakes were hunting again. And this time, they might not stop until Silwa was just another pile of ash in a dead world.